How did I end up here? Lying in your arms, watching city lights turn to stars.
Video game worlds are often expansive and are just waiting to be explored. Think back to recent times, what are some open world games that immediately come to mind for you? For me, it's games like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, even Forza Horizon 5. But those are just a few. There are many other examples such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Subnautica, No Man's Sky and, of course, games like Skyrim and Minecraft, arguably two of the most iconic open world games out there. Many of these worlds have a vast array of things to do, like finding secret treasures or whatever, taking care of side quests, wiping out entire ecosystems worth of wildlife just for a single level up in one of your stats, or even just admiring the scenery. And it's the last one that, I feel, gets the least attention out of the others. Well, maybe after everything else has been done, but nevertheless. But regarding my comment about admiring the scenery, have you ever been exploring those vast lands and come across a quaint little place and just thought, hey, this would be a nice place to sleep? Well, if that's the case, we share something in common, because I've had that thought many times before, and that's why I'm here today in this rather unique idea for a list video. Okay, well, that whole unique idea part isn't entirely true. See, I actually, well, let's say borrowed this idea from Nintendo Capri's son, who has, in the past, expressed a want to do a video where he goes over locations in video games he would like to sleep in, but has yet to get around to it, sadly. And I say sadly because I would genuinely love to see that from him. I love the guy, the dad of Let's Playing as some call him, so go check him out. But yeah, seeing as how the idea is kind of free real estate right now, and I do just think this idea is a very comfy and wholesome one for a video, in times like these, I thought now would be a good time to cover it. With that said, get comfortable and allow me to present to you the top 5 video game locations that I'd sleep in. I'll say ahead of time, this will be a fairly simple list, so no deep evaluation of the environments or anything like that, no. So you're free to just passively listen if you wish. Super Mario Odyssey is, in my opinion, one of Nintendo's best games in recent times. I don't think Odyssey is the best Mario game at all, Galaxy 2 is my absolute favourite in fact, but it's for sure one of Mario's best outings. And Odyssey marked the return to the 3D Mario formula that many love both Super Mario 64 and Sunshine for, but with more of a focus on the sandbox style of gameplay, namely, not booting you out of a world when you collect a star, shine sprite, or in this case, a moon. I should have probably saved that whole summary there for an actual review of Odyssey, which continues to be stuck in development hell for me, even 4 years later after I intended for it to come out. Yeah. That aside, the aforementioned return to the beloved 3D formula obviously allowed for more open, larger level design, but ones that also fall into the trap of Mario level tradition. You know the one, a grass world, a desert world, a water world, and so on and so forth. But not always is this a bad thing, because, in this case, we also get the return of a forest world in the form of the Forest Kingdom, a favourite of many for the music that plays in the Steam Gardens part of the kingdom. We're not talking about that part of the level, no. Rather at the very beginning where you start off in, well, a forest. Forests are usually calm and tranquil places, places where wildlife can thrive, and the Forest Kingdom is no different. Well, for the former anyway, because DP ecosystems don't exactly exist in Mario quite yet, but we're getting off topic here. The rays of sunshine passing through the leaves of the trees and the most likely cool climate will make for an excellent place to sleep as you just listen to the rustling of the leaves from the trees above and listen to the wildlife just exist around you. Personally, I wouldn't actually sleep in a forest given the chance because I'm not one for bugs crawling over me and such, but the thought of doing so is relaxing enough. You know, as a sort of preferred image of what it would be and feel like in my mind anyway. As for the Zelda series, there are plenty of locations throughout the series that would be great places to take a quick nap, Breath of the Wild being one of them with vast open fields of green in the starting portion of the game, but my preferred choice for locations to sleep in has to be Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword recently got a HD re-release for the Switch in July of 2021, and despite Skyward Sword in general having a pretty divisive opinion around it, many can agree that it's a visually stunning game thanks to its impressionist art style, and on a console that can only output 480p max, seeing it in HD finally is like a dream come true, or rather, a dream that got upscaled to 1080p HD. That was a little contrived, my apologies. Now, as for the locations I would sleep in, two major areas come to mind, those being Skyloft and Farron Woods. Specifically, however, if given the option, there's a part of Farron Woods I would 100% choose to sleep in, the Skyview Spring. The Skyview Spring is a location that can only be accessed by getting through the Forest Temple and, wow, it's just so pretty. Like, look at this place, doesn't it look like the most soothing place you'd ever seen in your life? A worthy reward for making it through the otherwise dingy Forest Temple. At least in comparison anyway. With the calm lighting and the gentle sound of water flowing around you, it's such a beautiful little place and a perfect one for just putting aside your worries for a moment and relaxing in. Tales of Arise has to be one of the best JRPGs I've recently had the honour of playing through. In fact, I thought so highly of it that it made it to my top 3 in my top 10 favourite games, 2021 edition, list that I made back in December, so yeah, I think it's pretty damn good. But anyway, one of my favourite things about Arise, besides the amazing characters and gameplay, was its world. I don't mean in terms of how it built itself, which was still really good, mind you. I mean how it was designed and how it looks. Overall, Arise has a pretty linear structure in its world design. It's a lot less open than other JRPG worlds, such as Final Fantasy XV, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and the entire Xenoblade series so far, but its locations were still interesting, both narratively and visually. A slight spoiler here for a location you'll be visiting much later on, as well as story spoilers here, so if you want to avoid those at all, then here's a timestamp you can skip to. I'll give you a few seconds. So the location you'll be, well, kind of forced to visit later on is Ganath Haros, the Dominion of Volron. And yeah, while visiting Haros was on your to-do list anyway, you know, to take down Volron and all, how you end up there can be considered less than preferred by your party. But this may be for the better, however, because where you end up after your fight with Almedria and subsequent confrontation with Volron is, obviously, a personal favourite location of mine, Whistling. In the loosest terms, Whistling can be described as a sort of tropical beach area that serves as a safe place for residents. They're off the radar from Volron's rule, pretty much. With that said, it does have kind of a negative atmosphere in that sense, with the given context, but I think the idea of the freedom of the residents compared to what we see later on does paint it in a much better light. Politics, I guess, but either way. The beach-like coast setting of Whistling makes for a really inviting atmosphere, I feel. So long as you don't know the context and whatnot, just forget about it. Just imagine for a second. You're laid up against a rock, listening to the sound of the waves roll in and out, all the while the smell of the ocean wafts around you, and the sun above is shining its warm light down upon you. Doesn't that sound amazing? It's precisely why I love Whistling, because, with all that in mind, it makes for a really relaxing atmosphere, acting as both a respite from what you just went through, and the calm before the storm. Wonderful. This one's a weird one because while you never actually get to visit this location in game, you get to see it in art form. Allow me to explain. So Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is a remake of the original Red and Blue Rescue Team on the GBA for the Switch, released in March of 2020. Yeah, around the time the world kinda, you know. The world's eternal darkness since then notwithstanding. The PMD series is an interesting and beloved spin-off for the Pokémon series, having you actually take control of the Pokémon in settings that have a much larger focus on story, and instead of catching Pokémon, you instead recruit them to join your rescue team. In a way, I guess it's the same thing, but saying that is greatly understanding the PMD series as a whole. My first PMD game was Explorers of the Sky, a very beloved installment of the series, and one I'm trying so desperately to get back, but I never got far with it. And since then, I've only played part of Gates to Infinity and the demo for Rescue Team DX, so I'm not exactly well versed in the series, but never mind that, because what I do know is that Rescue Team DX has some incredible artwork. Hell, there's even an option to just admire illustration on most background art, such as the beautifully recreated classic BMD art style ones, and more importantly from my point here, the background art that you can see when you're viewing a Pokemon camp. See, when you recruit a Pokemon throughout your journey, assuming you've brought the respective camp from the Wigglytuff and Pokemon Square, you have the option to recruit them for good and now reside in these camps, waiting for you to choose to bring them along with you again on your journey. As mentioned, you have the option here to view the backgrounds about the Pokemon sprites over them, and so many of these are amazing looking, but the one I want to focus on here, because it's my favourite, duh, is Waterfall Lake, where Pokemon like the Magikarp line and the Phoebus ones will reside. And let me tell you, for as doofy as Magikarp and Phoebus can be, they sure did get lucky with their friend camp, because this one is just so beautiful. Look at this place, just look at it. It looks so pretty, and besides being in awe at how it looked, my first thought, of course, was, I want to sleep here. Can you just imagine? The rustling of the tree leaves around you combined with the warm sunlight and the sound of a flowing waterfall constantly in the background. That is my dream. I love waterfalls. They're one of my favourite things about nature in general. They've just always enamored me. I just love them so much, and I would absolutely jump at the chance to just sleep here. Hooray! Another chance to read a gush about XE2. Can we right to the chase? The world of XE2, Arrest is amazing. I absolutely love the entirety of Arrest. Well, maybe except Spirit Crucible Elpis and Neferia, but that's not important right now. Gormont, Aurora, Moradane, the Leferian Archipelago, even the desolate as hell land that is Temperantia. I genuinely do love exploring every one of these places. And sure, maybe only a few rather than all I would actually consider nice places, but even so. As for which one in particular I like the most and would, well, you know, sleep in, that would have to be the Leferian Archipelago, specifically the village of Fonsett. Fonsett has such a calm and inviting atmosphere that really you could just about sleep anywhere here. And yeah, while that's the case, I actually want to hone in on a specific spot in Fonsett Village, which you can see on screen now. This spot doesn't have a name or anything, and it's kind of a nothing location, but I gravitate to it because it just looks so nice. Imagine just sitting up against one of these huge rocks, all the while the gentle hustle and bustle of Fonsett is going on around you, and a gentle breeze accompanies your rest throughout. You can't say that doesn't sound amazing. I know I sung super high praise of Waterfall Lake previously, while I'm a little more reserved here, but just because I have fewer words to say doesn't mean I don't love this place, because I absolutely do. And it being number 1, you can put together that I would choose this place over the others in a heartbeat, even if the rest of them all have their own respective qualities that I love. Quite a laid back list, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't normally cover a topic so niche, you could say, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I thought such a light-hearted and comfy topic would be just the thing right now. I mean, if I've distracted you at all from the current goings on for however long this video turns out to be, then I'm glad I could provide you with some respite. Try and take it easy out there, okay? Sunlight will eventually shine through. It always does.